He always causes trouble, just ignore it.
That's for sure. Oh, man, I gotta.
You got a bunch of trash?
Smell this
Oh
coming.
my goodness. Are you planning on getting sick?
We spin over here every once in a while.
Hey, I used to have that seat. There used to be a little.
Carmen always had that to put her feet on.
Who's that?
She tell you about Tony? Good. I think you ought to start.
You're up.
Well, good evening, everyone. We now reconvene in open session at 7:04 p.m. We were waiting on one more board member. We'll go ahead and reconvene. First, I'd like to say congratulations.
Thank you.
From all of us. Your first board meeting. We're excited. And
It looks different from this side, so. Okay, well, I do want to start. I d- It's going fast and furious, but I'm enjoying every minute. So my first board meeting as superintendent, I get to recognize and honor our awesome school board. So I'm excited about this for many reasons. But first of all, for all their years of service to the students here in PISD, their wisdom, their dedication, and of course their love of our students, our staff, and just our school district as a whole. I feel like this is a great way to start this meeting, so I'm glad you're all here to witness this. As you may know, January is our Board Appreciation Month. So that makes it a great time to join with school districts all across Texas to recognize those that serve in these positions. In my opinion, and of course, I'm honored to have been chosen to serve in this position, but I think we have the best school board in the state. And I'm not the only one who thinks this, because in fact, this past year, the HEB Excellence Award Program in Education recognized our board as one of the top 5 school boards in the state of Texas. So we're very proud of that. Our school board members truly care about the needs of our students across the district. They deal with challenges, as we all do, with reduced funding, increased enrollment, and just meeting the needs of all of our educational programs and the students, the diverse student population that we have here in PISD. But under their leadership, this district has seen continued improvements. In fact, this past year, our graduation rate reached over 89% this last year. And so we have seen a strong commitment from all of our board members for public education. They've supported initiatives and given our students tools, such as our one-to-one initiative, where we have computers in the hands of our students intermediate through high school. And they've built on that with improving the installation of the long-term evolution, or LTE towers, that's going to provide internet access to all of our students across the district at their homes. So we're excited about that starting. Because of the board's commitment to providing these opportunities for students, 3 of our campuses, Lomax, Thompson, and Dobie, are part of the Connect initiative, and we just learned that more of our campuses will be joining in on that. They were chosen to participate in this initiative with the Summit Public School, and it's an online learning opportunity, personalized learning program that gives students the opportunity to just become really great self-directed learners. They also were helpful in getting the funds, district funds, along with the Dell Grant, to help award high school students over $174,000 for students who had a score of 3 or higher on their advanced placement exams. So that's just another honor for us here in the district. And I have to say, because of their focus not only on our students, but on our staff, our district was named number 12 in the large employer category among the 150 top workplaces in Houston, a competition that's sponsored by the Houston Chronicle. So we're very proud of that. A workplace satisfaction survey determined these results. And so you can see, because of their leadership, it's a great place to work and learn in PISD. They serve as role models for our staff, our students, and our community as a whole. and they've earned the reputation of doing what's right for kids every time. So we are pleased to show you a video or a video slideshow at this time, spotlighting some of their service here in Pasadena. So on behalf of the students and staff, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you for your service and your dedication to our students. And if you'll join me one more time in honoring this wonderful board, I would like to show them our appreciation. As you may or may not know, school board members receive no pay or compensation salary. I'm sorry. I hate to be the ones to tell you this after you've done it for so many years, but as a gift tonight, we will be filming our board meeting in compliance with House Bill 283, just a little joke. But again, this will be videotaped and put on our board website to be in compliance not only with House Bill 283, but also House Bill 685. So I just wanted to let the audience know that as well. So lots of fun things in January. So thank you, thank you, thank you again. We appreciate each one of you.
Barbara, it's on TV, so you may want to behave yourself.
Thank you very much. That will take us to section number 3, consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Section 4, item number 1, consideration and possible approval of administrative personnel.
Madam President, I move the approval of personnel, section 4, addendum A through E.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Sullivan, a second by Ms. Morgan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'd like to read the names of those individuals that are to receive promotions or employment within our district. And if I pronounce this first name wrong, you'll have to excuse me. Wadquita Retta. There she is. Congratulations. She's been approved for the position of Parent Counselor Coordinator at Parks Elementary School for the remainder of the 2015 school year. Congratulations. We're excited for you. And do you have family with you?
I did. My dad, my two children, my husband outside with my daughter.
We're excited for you.
My administrators here supporting me as well.
Fine. Thank you. And is Martha Marino here tonight? There was some question about her attendance, so when you see her, you will want to congratulate her on being approved for the position of occupational therapist for the remainder of the 2015-16 school year. Is Brenda Alvarado with us tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Brenda, we're delighted that you're here tonight. You've been approved for the position of assistant principal at the Summit for the remainder of the 2015 school year.
Thank you.
And do you have family with you?
Yes, my husband and my son.
Very good. Could they stand? Great. Thank you very much and congratulations. I'm sure that Patricia Chavez is here tonight. Patricia's been approved for the position of assistant principal at Young Elementary School for the remainder of the 2015 school year. Congratulations, Patricia. And do you have family with you tonight?
Yes, ma'am. I have my Jensen family that I'm coming from the Fairfield and Forest, and I have my New York family from Young Elementary, Miss Ross and her team. I also have my personal family, my husband, Wayne, Tony Chavez, my aunt and uncle,
I can't see him.
my son, David Chavez, my daughter Marissa, Adriana, my grandson, Carmelo.
Yeah, hold him.
The whole room, the whole room.
That's awesome.
Patricia, we want to thank you. If you had not been given this promotion to this position, we would have had hardly anyone here.
I thought they were here because of me, but not the case.
Congratulations, Alan Herford.
Thank you.
One of the first administrators are approved.
Very awesome. Thank you.
And congratulations to all of your family. Next is Tom Lee with us. Congratulations. Mr. Lee's been approved for the position of assistant principal at the Dr. Kirk Lewis CTE High School for the remainder of the 2015 school year. Congratulations, and do you have family with you?
No immediate family, but I do have my new CTHS family with
Awesome.
me, so I'm really honored about that, and I'm super excited to join the ISD family as well. Thank you.
Well, we're delighted to have you coming from one of the higher schools of education. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that ends the report for the evening.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the new ones. Congratulations on the promotions for the ones here. I love the excitement. And if you guys are here just supporting somebody and would like to step out, you're more than welcome to do that now, or you're welcome to stay.
I think King Floyd wants to go.
We're going to lose our audience.
Well, I guess I'll see what
Now that's reality.
Isn't that my boy Precious?
Does anybody wanna stay?
Some don't have
Alita?
options.
She's all in.
Jack, she's all in.
Oh, gosh. No. Karen, Rhonda, front row.
Oh. Do you have another pen over there?
Fred probably took yours.
I think I left it in another room.
That brings us to item number 2, certified personnel for informational purposes only. Section 5, educational section. Item number 1, consideration and possible approval to pilot a tuition-based half-day pre-kindergarten program for employees' children.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I think this is a positive direction the school district's going with the care of our employees, and I think it's one of those perks and benefits that we ought to continue looking at, because it's a major factor and a major cost to young families nowadays. I think, what's the cost? Luckily for me, I don't have anyone in childcare, but isn't it like $500 a week or $400 a
My
week?
grandchildren, for 2 children, pay $420 a week.
So I mean, it's a major deal, and I applaud this school district and the people that are working towards getting this program started, and I'd like to see it grow myself.
I've been going to, at state convention for the last several years, been going to, TASB has had a real successful program for employees' children. And it has been it's been something that's really of big interest to me. And I appreciate the fact that the district is looking into it, gonna pilot it. Obviously, it's a pilot program, and so we've gotta, make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, and that it's something that's gonna be beneficial in the long run. But I'm looking forward to hearing reports about what's going on.
You're right on that, TASB. They do have child
Yeah.
care at TASB.
They've done it
Joyce
for-
Baskin's got like 5 kids or something.
They've done it for a long time.
Ms. Sullivan?
Do we have any idea how many spaces will be available for our employees?
I'm gonna let Dr. Hickman come to the microphone. We do have available space, but it's very limited.
I'll have to flip through numbers, Rebecca, if you can give me that number, but we have only 17 employees who actually answered the survey. We're interested in the particular schools and the particular slots. So we're going to start off with 17 employees that we're going to offer as soon as this is passed. But then I believe, what was that number? Yeah. 155 is the open spaces for non-eligible kids. We have additional bilingual spaces, but if they're bilingual, they would have been eligible and they could have gone anyway.
Yeah.
So, is there, did you say 155?
155 spaces across the district. We currently are serving 2,100 and something.
So this is
2,158 kids are currently in service, but we have 155 open spaces across the district.
Good.
We have classrooms that have like 18 and 19 kids when we can go up to 22.
And it's good that we're starting them in pre-K, because it's going to make it easier for kindergartners, for the teachers.
We are finding a big difference between the kids who go through our pre-K and those who don't. So yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're also finding a big difference between half day and whole day, so we're continuing to try to grow that.
And these are all half days.
These are all half
All
day
of our
because that's
full
the
day
only
are full.
are full.
And what are we going to use for criteria to see which of the employees' children can be accepted? Are they gonna have to be in district, out of district, or does it matter?
We put forth in the criteria that's attached that it could be in or out of district for employees for this time. And right now, only 17 committed to interest, so that's all we're going to serve.
Okay, well, that's a good start.
I think it's a good way for us, like some to kind of just figure it out. We have
Yeah.
not done this before. It's nice because it'll be a deduction from their paycheck, so we don't have to worry about credit cards and cash and checks and all those kinds of things at first. It's modeled after what we're already doing at CTHS because we do have that program for employee kids, and that's running smoothly. So we're kind of growing that. Eventually, we'd like to be able to offer this to any non-eligible kids so that they can go to pre-K with us.
Good, sounds great.
Are there any other districts doing this?
Yes, we're doing a lot of our work patterned after San Antonio. They're doing quite a bit of this,
But
and
there's
so
no local schools, no local districts doing it?
Spring Branch has been doing it for years,
Oh, is that right? Okay.
and that's where Rebecca came from.
Oh, well, thank you, Rebecca.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't show up to the, let's say they take them out for a week, do they pay for that week, or how does that work?
Those are one of the dots in the crossing of the T's that we will be working through. I would think that they would just pay the tuition, just like
Just
they
like
would.
any daycare?
Good question, though.
I think it's great.
I
Good.
do too.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, consideration and possible approval of 4 days of professional development services from the Region 4 Education Service Center, focused on concepts in the kindergarten through grade 4 mathematics standards.
So move.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, consideration and possible approval of the 12 days of professional development services from the Region 4 Educational Service Center, focused on modeling concepts in the kindergarten through grade 4 mathematics standards through small group instruction.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Mr. Fernandez. Any discussion?
I have a question. How did we select the 6 elementary campuses?
It's based off of their math scores from last year's STAR test, so it's the bottom six.
Bottom 6.
Campuses.
You
Okay.
just skipped right over tax and went
Just
straight
went
to
on,
tax.
up, they went, yep.
Tabs and teams will be coming out.
Okay.
We looked at their tab scores from 30 years ago. They were really bad, and so we're getting to an action step now.
Sorry.
And
We're on video.
Hello.
are they coming to our district, or are we sending representatives there?
So for the first item that you passed, the one right before this, that's going to be summer training. And so any teacher will be able to go to the training here. And then the model classroom is they're going into their classrooms and modeling the instruction that we would like to see in those math classrooms. So they're actually coming here and modeling the instruction in their classrooms.
Great. That should give the teachers a comfort level, it being in their own schools.
I was just with Gardens 2 days ago, and they have been having this modeling going on, and they can't say enough about how much that's helped them improve their instruction.
Great, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, consideration and possible approval of the amendment between Avondale House and PISD.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, consideration and possible approval of the ongoing subscription with Texas State Library and Archives Commission for the school year 2016-17.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Mr. Fernandez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, consideration and possible approval of the ongoing purchases from sole source provider Overdrive from IMA funds, libraries and instruction materials budget, campus library budgets, and FF&E funds.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor? I'm sorry.
Are we going to be able to stay within the 125,000?
We may have to come back at a later time, but that is our goal. When I was asking Dr. Hickman about this earlier, in fall of 2012, we were not utilizing ebooks. And as of this school year, we've already utilized 13,429 ebooks. So you can see it's on the rise. So we may have to come back.
But we're approving 150,000,
Put 150.
correct?
Yes,
Right.
up to 150.
Up to
We
the-
just tried to make that window
Yeah.
smaller because that was a
Sure.
concern in the past.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration and possible approval of a resolution between the State of Texas Governor's Office and Pasadena ISD for the Juvenile Crisis Intervention Program for the 2015-16 school
moved.
year.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Kendrick, a second by Mrs. Morgan. Any discussion?
Got a question? Then the contact person, is that supposed to be Joe Sabreda, or is it Robert?
It's Robert at the Guidance Center is the contact
We have
person.
one over there?
We have Robert Saavedra. Is it Robert Saavedra or Joe?
Robert.
Robert.
Joe's at Pasadena.
Well, we got Robert.
So it's the Guidance Center. So it's just it's SAY.
Okay,
It's
okay,
spelled a
okay.
little different.
I was just wondering. Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, consideration and possible approval to career and technical education students to participate in national competitions.
So move.
Second.
I do have a question. I'm sorry.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Mr. Fernandez. Go ahead.
Normally, when we approve participation in national competitions, we do it on a single basis. For example, if the ag students want to participate, or robotics or whatever, but we're doing a kind of a blanket thing.
And
Why are we
Mr.
doing it
McCarley,
that
how
way?
long have we done the blanket for the career and tech? And if you'll explain why we do that.
Mrs. Morgan, for probably the last probably about 2 years, we've taken the blanket because a lot of times in the competitions, when they compete and they have to get to that national level, we may not have a board meeting in place and so forth. So this gives us the ability for those students to be able to go ahead and go within the timeline that we have for those competitions.
But it's only for the CTE students, and we can
Absolutely,
still
in-
bring them
in these
to you.
specific programs.
Well, you know, we always have, I don't remember approving this. I trust you. I mean, I believe that that's the way it's been, but, you know, we have special call board meetings to approve these all the time. I'm just wondering, I don't want to get into a situation where we do this all the time, because we need to know where these students are going and what's going on in the district. And by giving a blanket okay, it bothers me a little bit not knowing what's going on, how many students are involved, et cetera, so.
And we can bring those individually if y'all would prefer.
Well, I don't mind, I just want to make sure that it doesn't occur
Okay.
at these other campuses. I
Well,
just,
And the
CTE is
cost-
so unusual, I
I
can understand the
agree.
reason for
I
it. The other
agree.
campuses aren't that diversified,
okay.
except for choir and band and you name it.
But
Speech.
absolutely,
And the
we
cost factor on it.
bring
Okay.
them that way.
Yeah,
Well, and I think
Cost
maybe
is-
in the past too, they didn't have a full campus,
yeah.
so.
We'll bring them forward as individual. I don't think that's a problem at all. If we run into something, we'll make sure we get a special called, or we'll look at how many
Well, I
those
don't mind
are.
doing it if we're advised as to what's going on
Okay.
and when they're going, so,
We will definitely do that.
okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, consideration and possible approval of J. Frank Dobie High School debate team members to travel to the 2016 Barclay Forum in Atlanta, Georgia, at Emory University on January 28th through February 2nd, 2016.
I so move.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, consideration and possible approval of the Pasadena Memorial High School Percussion Ensemble to travel to Dayton, Ohio on April 13 through 17, 2016 to compete in the WGI 2016 World Championship Drumline Competition.
So move.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
Is this where this always is, Dayton, Ohio?
World championships are always in Dayton, Ohio.
Wonder how they got that in Dayton, Ohio?
They like snow.
I've been to Dayton.
Exciting.
Well, there you go. Now you have a reason to go.
Now,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 11, consideration and possible approval for the J. Frank Dobie High School speech team members to travel to the National Harvard Forensics League competition in Cambridge, Massachusetts on February 12th through 17th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Section 6, student achievements. We have achievements in academic decathlon and mathematics, science, social studies, language, literature, music, art, economics, essay, speech, and interview, with lots of students' names there. Congratulations. Section 7, policy update and review. We don't have any at this time. Section 8, financial section. Item number 1, consideration and possible approval of the budget amendments.
I move that we approve the budget amendments.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
This is for November, 1st of all.
2015, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, consideration and possible approval of the budget amendments for December 2015.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, consideration and possible approval to change the hours per day for child nutrition cafeteria positions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, consideration and, well, we have a presentation first.
I'm going to let John Petrosic come up and introduce our external auditors, and they have a presentation for you.
Thank you, Dr. Powell, Board of Trustees. It's my pleasure to introduce to you with the firm of Herford, Lynch, Sellers, and Kirkham. We have here this evening Debbie Kirkham and Matt Rogers. Debbie Kirkham will come up and do a brief presentation for you at this time.
Thank you. Glad to be here tonight to present to you your annual financial report for 2015 and also your federal single audit report. On page 34 of your comprehensive annual financial report, the statement of activities government-wide, and these statements are on the government-wide. When I speak about those are only presented once a year, and they're converting your fund level financial statements that you see on a monthly basis, because school districts have to keep them on a modified accrual, and once a year they convert that to a full accrual basis like proprietary businesses. And we thought it was important tonight to include that in the slide because there was a major change this year with GASB 68 and 71. So when you look at it in your report, you'll see that on page 34 that your revenues totaled $581 million, $9 million being charges for services, and $109 million being operating grants and contributions, and your general revenues, which include your property taxes of $462 million, and also your state money. Your expenditures on the government-wide level were $577 million, so you had an overall increase from the current year of $3.6 million. Net position last year was beginning $440 million. The GASB 68 to book the net pension liability and the contribution subsequent to measurement date, which was GASB 71, affected the district $84 million. So I'm sure many of you have heard about this happening and wanting to know how it was going to affect your district. And that was the beginning adjustment, implementing it as of September 1st, 2014. It reduced it to $355 million, which added to your $3 million current year increase. Still, the district ended up with a $359 million overall net position. On page 39 is the financial statements that are more similar to what you look at on a regular basis, which are fund level accounting. Net position is measuring what the total financial position. It's got capital assets and long-term liabilities, and you can't expend those. But in this financial statement, it's looking at what's available in our fund balance, what's available to appropriate. So looking at the revenues, total revenues were $459 million, which is primarily local and intermediate, $127 million, state monies $323 million, and your federal programs $8 million. Your expenditures are made up of various instructional and school leadership, support services, administration, support, community services, capital outlay, and intergovernmental charges, and all of those totaled up to $456 million. Had a excess of revenues over expenditures of $2.7 million. Some transfers in of $19 million and transfers out of $7 million, and tax refunds per the court order, $1 million. So your overall net change in fund balance was an increase of $14 million, which brought it from $83 million to $97 million. Unassigned fund balance was 13% of annualized expenditures. Your general administration was 2.46% of total expenditures, was less than the state average of 3%. On page 39, the next column is your statement of revenues expenditures for your debt service fund, which accounts for the collection of property taxes for the payment of debt, took in $48 million, and paid principal and interest and fiscal charges of $47 million. And other financing sources, which was from the refunding of bonds, you sold them par value and premium of $57.9 million, paid the escrow agent $57.6, and then you also had some tax refunds there. So overall, your net change in fund balance increased $1.6 million, which brought it from $47.9 million to $49.5 million. The next column on page 40 is your capital projects fund, which collected some local interest earnings of $444,000. You had issuance costs and fees of $712,000, and then the capital outlay for facilities acquisition and construction of $64 million. So you had an excess of expenditures over revenues of $64 million. You sold some more bonds, par value and premium of $176 million, and you have the transfers in of $3 million, and you can see that transfer out, that $19 million that was going back to the general fund, that was a transfer in on the other side.
Where did you have the $176 million?
The issuance of bonds for par value and premium for the construction bonds. And then the net change in fund balance was overall $95 million, which brought the fund balance from the $78 million to, that doesn't show up on there, does it? To $174 million. I'm sorry, it was showing up on our screen earlier, so I'm not sure what I must have done. But overall, it was a $95 million increase, which brought it from $78 million to $174 million. The next page is your non-major funds. Those are all your special revenue funds, Title I, special ed, food service, and all of those particular federal and state grants that are required to be reported separately. Total revenues were $75.8 million. You expended $77 million. You had another financing source, a transfer of $85,000 out. So your overall decrease was $1.2 million, which brought the fund balances in those special revenue funds from $11 million to $9.7 million. The key thing that the state looks at is, because they're going to get this data in an ASCII format, and they're going to get it in PEMS format, and they're going to get it in PDF format, and they want to know how can we rely on all of this data for them to compare and put in and do their different reviews. And they look to what type of opinion is issued on the financial statements. And again, this year the district received an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. It's the best assurance the district can receive that all the assets, all the liabilities, and all the revenues and expenditures are fairly stated in accordance to GAAP, which we refer to as generally accepted accounting principles. The audit was conducted in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, and also the government auditing standards, but that are issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. The other key thing is, in relation to the financial statements, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies or non-compliance. In regards to the federal programs that we refer to as the single audit that's also included on page 162, the federal programs that we tested this year was the Title I Part A and also the 21st Century Community Learning Center grants. Those were the two major programs. Again, you received a clean opinion, unmodified, on those programs, and there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And before I open it up for questions and answers, I just want to thank all of the financial business department staff. We have a lot of things we ask for at interim. We send a planning memorandum ahead of time, and at year end, the same thing. And we always walk through the door. Many times, it's always sent to us ahead of time, so we already are sorting through many of the things so that we can come out here and then test the live documents. So we just appreciate John and Nina and all the staff and Anna and each one of them of all their work and their professionalism and their courtesies extended to us, where we can get in and get out and let you continue with your operations of education. And I just want to thank them.
Thank you for bringing us a great report. It's always good to get good news, but we know that we're in good hands, and we certainly thank the business office, John, Nina, Anna, everybody concerned. Y'all do a fantastic job, and you always, always make us pleased.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That takes us back to item number 4, consideration and possible approval of the comprehensive annual financial report for 2014-15 school year.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Mr. Fernandez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, consideration and possible approval of the interlocal cooperative purchasing agreement with Santa Fe Independent School District.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, consideration and possible approval of the resale of foreclosed properties for delinquent taxes at 0 Wald Street.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration and possible approval of the investment brokers and dealers to engage in investment transactions with the district.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, consideration and possible approval of the resolution concerning investment policy and investment strategy review.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, operations section. Section number 9, operations section. Item number 1, consideration and possible approval of the allowance expenditure authorization number 1 for the new Dobie High School 9th grade campus site package project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, consideration and possible approval of the allowance expenditure authorization number 27 for the Thomas Hancock Elementary School project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, consideration and possible approval of the change order number 2 for the Thomas Hancock Elementary School project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Section number 10, the construction update.
Okay, that's right. Go ahead.
Questions?
No, go ahead. I'll wait till you finish.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, okay. The questions on the construction update on the bond program and so on and so forth. Going to the page, it would be page 2 of 20, and it's kind of your program schedule. It stops at December. What happened to January and February? Was it just not added, or is that in some of these schools, is that infinity, or when's the thing supposed to end? In particular, certain schools.
You referring to Nelda Sullivan Middle
Yeah.
School?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that one, Roberts, all of them.
Yeah, those are in completion right now. Nelda Sullivan has reached substantial completion. We just did not extend it out into January here.
What is the red mark? I'm sorry, I can't, it just says it's not completed, or what is there?
The red with the CO
Yeah.
is closeout.
Closed out.
Mhm.
Okay. Where are we at as far as fund balance on the bond program? Is there any money left over, or where are we at on that? What's gonna be at the end of the story?
Well, we've got multiple projects that need to be final reconciled, and right now, we've got a balance. We'll probably be bringing 2 or 3 projects that are final reconciliation at the next board meeting. We should get up closer to $300,000 or $400,000 balance on fund balance. And
We should
then-
have 300,000 or 400,000 left over? or-
Yes.
What about on the, some of the projects, I saw that they were zeroed out on money, is that correct, or as far as fund balance, even though the projects aren't completed, is that?
We have done final reconciliation on a lot of the 2011 bond projects. Are you referring to something in particular?
Well, like on Roberts in particular, it shows that basically it's, well, a couple of things. It shows that it's completed, it shows that, there's no money left and it's all been paid, is the interpretation I got. Am I wrong?
It has not been paid out completely to the contractor. We're showing a balance of $147,614, but we still have a balance with the contractor with retainage and things that haven't been paid out. These numbers show that it's been encumbered, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily been paid out.
The contractors that we've had doing work for us over the years and so on and so forth, and this is just a comment on my side, we've had contractors that have done us really good work.
Yes, sir.
And I think we really need to try to stick to those individuals that really do good work, and they work positive with the district instead of going out and getting people, even though there may be a low bid or whatever the case may be, they end up being a problem.
I agree.
And I think we need to make notes, and hopefully the superintendent will notice that too, and maybe have a talk with these individuals beforehand. If they're gonna do work in Pasadena, we expect them to be on time and do good work. Otherwise, they go to HISD and work.
Right.
We don't need them here. We just don't need them here.
And that's one of the benefits of using the procurement method of competitive sealed proposal, that we're not locked into taking low price only. There's a lot of other factors that we can evaluate them on, so.
Right. A couple of years ago, we had a situation where we did the grading, so on and so forth, and I saw a good contractor who has completed some work for us. And I don't mind telling you, over at CTHS, lost the job for $2,000 because a national company had more money than he had. It was before you were here. And it was basically, like I said, they were $2,000 lower on the project, which
Right.
means he was right there in place of, but the national company showed greater wealth. I've got to tell you, sometimes you cannot pick the contractor just because they have more money. Sometimes you need to stick with people that are local, that have a great, for lack of terms, a great love for this district and want to do good work.
I agree.
And some people just don't do that type of work, and hopefully we won't have these problems in the future. What's the status on the radio towers? I didn't know if that was the right time to ask about operations or what. I see signs sticking out all over the place. People are gonna
Probably
start
want to get
stealing them.
Mr. Wentz up to the microphone for that
They're gonna start
update.
stealing and make garage signs garage sale signs out of it.
Yes, you did see some signs put up that is required by the city and FCC, that we got to do some of these things. And so we're walking through all these paperwork type of projects that we got to get done to get the towers up. Right now, we're also waiting on FCC to give us some environmental impact of that hole that gets dug for the base of those towers. And so we've just got some red tape and paperwork to get through. All 15 towers are basically in the yard of the tower company, and they're ready to go up just as soon as we can get this paperwork out of the way.
So the towers are ready, we just gotta get the
Just got to get the paperwork out of the way.
supposed, amount of time they need to put the towers up.
He thinks he can get a tower or two up a week once they start digging holes and putting cement in and that. Of course, the city's got to come in and city of Pasadena and city of Houston and South Houston have got to come in and do their inspections and all that. So, all goes well. I mean, it's basically a hole in the ground with some rebar and cement, so it's nothing really rocket science about it. But they still got to take a look at it, right? We have been working with the city of Pasadena, and the tower guy was having, I wouldn't say too much difficulty, but some difficulty getting the permitting through. And so we went over and talked to them, and through the conversation it come up that if we allowed those towers to have some level of emergency signal come off of those towers, that they would waive the permitting. And we've sent in a letter to request that. And so we think for 8 of our sites, we won't even have to go through the permitting with the city of Pasadena. They're just going to waive that permitting for the tower construction. The hole in the ground, they still got to inspect. Electricity that we pull out there, they still got to inspect. So, they'll still be around to take a look at things, but the major tower permitting, I believe they're going to let us waive that. Still working with the city of Houston to get their permitting done on the towers.
What about the repeaters and so on and so forth on the tower, the equipment on the towers itself? Has that been ordered and is that all ready? Is that sitting in a warehouse somewhere? Or
Yeah,
have we taken care
a
of
big
that?
chunk of that is sitting in our possession right now. As a matter of fact, we just received 3 more crates of equipment today.
Okay, so it's
Earlier
not being
today.
held up at any secretary's desk or
Not
anything?
yet. Yeah, no, we're
Not
good
yet,
on.
that's not good.
We're good on the equipment. Like I said, it's probably 85% of that equipment is in, and the main core stuff came in today, and so we'll be able to start ginning that up as far as getting it configured. Can't really do anything with it until we get towers up in the air, but as soon as we can get some of this red tape out of our way. We thought we were clear, and then FCC come back with this environmental impact thing, and we're going, please.
Yeah,
So hopefully this isn't another hurdle, and we got some other hurdle that they
Yeah.
haven't told us about yet.
What is the environmental impact of digging a hole?
I guess we'll kill a bug or something, I'm not exactly sure.
Blind salamander.
There could be a worm down in there that we don't know about. I don't mean to be facetious,
I
it's
know,
just
but it
very
is facetious.
frustrating.
It is
Yeah,
facetious anyway.
yeah.
Steve, what's the purpose of the phone number on the tower sites? People have asked me, what does that mean? And I don't know.
It's just a phone number for them to call if they've got some concern about that tower going up
Oh, okay.
in that location.
Have you had any calls?
I think a couple, and most of them were saying, hey, I've got some land you can use to put a tower on. Right?
Okay.
That's a phone number to the tower company, and that's the ones that he's
Okay.
told us about.
Okay.
What's the further, how many towers are we gonna have?
15.
And what's from where to where? From one point to the other, where? Is the
Roughly,
furthest one out by, say, Malillo?
yeah, roughly it's about a 2-mile radius is what that's covering each tower. So, and then you gotta cross those boundaries of those towers. It's like building a cell.
But you're talking
Okay.
points of the district? Is that what you're asking? The furthest
Yeah, in
one?
other words, is it, the furthest one out is over towards Malillo, is that correct? That
Right
would
off the top of my
cover the-
head, yeah, I don't recall what those,
And
but
then
there
you
are
probably,
some down there.
I guess, have one down by Pasadena High School?
The first one going in is Pasadena High School.
Okay.
Yep.
What's their height, 50, 75,
90 feet.
90 feet?
Right, we stayed under the 100 feet, would have brought in some other FAA
Yeah.
regulations, and we
Right.
stayed out of that space. And so we stayed at 90 feet, but it's still, city's got some ordinances, but at least with the city of Pasadena, it looks like we got past some of their major hurdles. Otherwise, we would have had to move those towers. They didn't like them up next to our building the way we want them. We would have had to move them 1.5 distance away, so we'd had to move them almost 200 feet away from the building, which in some cases would have put them across the street in somebody's yard. So it was really going to be difficult to meet those permit requirements, and so we're really glad that we come up with this alternative to get past the city of Pasadena's permitting. Hopefully we can do something similar to the city of Houston. We just had to find out what their scratch is that we need to, or their itch that we need to scratch it. So we'll figure what that one is and see if we can do the same permit bypass with those guys.
Have all the new schools got all their computer equipment, all their, huh?
One-to-one.
Well, one-to-one, all
Tablets.
their, so that, all of them are all set and ready to roll.
As far as I know, Fred, yes, everything's been delivered, installed, and we're just now in maintenance mode on those items, yes.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you. Takes us to section 11, miscellaneous section. Number 1, communications. We don't have any additional. Number 2, public comments. We don't have any. And number 3, set the meeting for the next regularly scheduled board meeting, which will be Tuesday, February 23rd, 2016.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Morgan, a second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Oh, okay, go ahead.
I probably should have asked this in the educational section, but I think it was yesterday, something from TEA talking about the changes on the way that, the number of days, now they're talking about hours of
Minutes.
instruction. Minutes of
Minutes.
instruction.
Yes.
How is that gonna affect us?
We've been looking at, Dr. Palmer was lucky enough to take over calendar in my new position, so she was very pleased to have that role, especially with the House bill that changes it. So we've been looking at a variety of calendars that would either get us out by Memorial Day or perhaps keep us on the same schedule we are at now. We have some priorities that we want to look at as far as putting in some staff development so we don't pay so much for subs to train those teachers. So we have some things that DEC has talked to us about, the calendar committee's talked to us about. So February 11th, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll go back to DEC for further input. And then, of course, put that out on the website for parents and community to give input into. It's not going to look a whole lot different. We try to do some innovative things with bringing teachers back early, but that puts us into, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that puts us into the 15-16 budget impact rather than just impacting the new budget that we'll get ready to gear up and plan. So we're looking at different things and learning how we can meet the requirement of the minutes, do what's best for kids, and then also have some things that our staff will really benefit from.
The purpose of it is to, so from what I was able to read, is so that when we have a
Bad
snow
weather.
day
Mhm.
or hurricane or whatever, we don't have to ask for a waiver. Is that correct?
That's correct. And some districts are taking it and doing a lot of other things. I don't think that, like Jody has told us over and over, is the intent. It's to make sure we don't have to go to the state when we
Right.
have those bad weather days, which we've had in the past. So we're being pretty conservative with it compared to others. And we're looking at our surrounding districts. We have so many teachers that
Right.
have students in surrounding districts, so we're trying to be cognizant of all of that.
And I appreciate that, because that's something that in the past, we've worked together with the surrounding districts, because we do have a lot of our staff that comes from their students.
We'll bring a proposed calendar in March to the board for approval.
So how does this weigh in compared to what we have right now? What is it, how many minutes of instruction, 159, I don't remember, 1,000 something?
Okay, so
Yeah.
the old law required the students to come to school 180 days.
Yeah.
And y'all always approved a calendar that had some waiver days in there for staff development built
Right.
in. So typically the students would come for 175. The minutes required in the new law is 75,600, and it's about 174 days.
Okay.
So we have added in, though, the minutes so that we do have those makeup days built in, so we don't have to.
Good.
Is it minutes or?
Yes.
Or days?
It used to be days, and now it's calculated on minutes, but the ADA for our budget is still based on the days, average number of days in a 6 weeks.
Yeah, it blew me away when I saw that. I thought, oh, you gotta be kidding
But
me.
in
But
reality,
it
if
does
we're-
relieve a lot of red tape,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
The intent of it is that they could come to you and you guys, without having to reapprove the calendar, that if we had a bad weather day, instead of having to ask for a waiver, we could add 5 minutes to the school day, adjust the length of the day and the time, not have to go back to the board to reapprove the calendar, and make it up throughout
Okay.
So
Well,
that would
that
probably
makes
be part of it.
sense. Yeah.
The other thing that it did is it relieved the red tape of always asking for waiver days for staff development. So if we build in our minutes and we meet our requirements, however many days left over that you can afford, you can have for staff development.
Okay, I got you. Well, that answers that question. Thank you.
Fred?
I'd like to make a comment on the number of minutes. And I think that's a great idea. Tissue Bank sent me 2 weeks ago, and may I suggest everybody look at it, that Georgia is going to 4-day school days.
And there's one district in the state of Texas who, because of that law, they're doing that too.
And
But it's a small district.
the savings goes back to the same thing we talked about 10 or 15 years ago.
Longer than that.
Has it been longer than that? Well, I'm still a proponent for it. But it's a major savings, and one day it'll probably happen. 4-day work weeks in the schoolhouse would be great for everybody, but that's my own opinion. These people would agree with me.
Especially as we go to one-to-one and the kids can do the work at home.
Well, you got the virtual learning and all kinds of stuff. Things are changing.
Thank you.
But call TSU Banks and get that copy of that article. It's pretty neat.
Well, that wraps up the first meeting of the year, folks. We adjourn at 8:03.
I survived.